Climate change and increased wildfire activity. Wildfires in the western United States have been a prominent issue in the media, with these tragic events occurring every year. Wildfires result in several issues such as increased carbon dioxide release in the atmosphere, wildlife populations in affected areas diminishing, and how it affects the people who live in the area who may lose their homes or lives. Wildfire activity has been increasing over the past few decades, and this article argues that increased wildfire activity began in the 1980s. This paper analyzes arguments stating that management of land use, ecological restoration, and fuel management would help prevent climate change may not be wholly effective in climate change prevention due to wildfires. This paper also analyzes hydroclimatic and land surface data to see which regions of the western United States are most heavily impacted by this increased activity in order to support its argument.
One of the competing lines of reasoning for the increase in forest fire frequency is the rapid increase in climate change. This is because there has been a positive correlation between both drought frequency and the intensity of the El Niño and La Niña weather cycles of the West Coast, particularly the strength of the La Niña, which is responsible for bringing in dry air and warmer temperatures to the southwestern United States.
Another explanation for the cause of this issue accredits the fires to the fact that despite increasingly effective fire suppression that began in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, forest regrowth after extensive logging, combined with an absence of extensive fires, led to the structure of the forest changing and biomass accumulation, which now reduces the effectiveness of fire suppression and increases the size of the fires and the area that is burned. In some forest types, past land uses have probably increased the sensitivity of current wildfire regimes, but the effects of land use history are largely dependent on the particular forest type. The effects of fire prevention are more impactful in forests that have previously had frequent, low-intensity fires. Forests that have very infrequent, high-severity fires are not as impacted by fire prevention.
So now we have to ask ourselves, what does the statistics support? As you can see, the graph for western U.S. forest wildfires and spring-summer temperature illustrates a direct correlation between the temperature and the wildfire frequency. So, when in 1975, when there was a massive drop in the temperatures, so was there a massive drop in wildfires. But the reverse is also true, because in sometime between 1990 and 1995, most likely 1994, there was a sudden spike in temperature causing a sudden spike in wildfires as well. Now, the second graph shows that the timing of spring snowmelt correlates with wildfires as well, and the days in which they become an anomaly. In late spring snowmelt, there are 15 days versus an early spring melt. There's negative 15 days where wildfires are much more common compared to the usual 5 to -5 range.
So in conclusion, why should we care? It is our world that is being destroyed. There is a known cause for these fires, and it's climate change. Climate change is responsible for creating so many issues we see in our world today, from hotter temperatures, earlier springs, and the forest fires presented in the article. So what can we do? Climate change is inevitable. There is no way to stop it, but there are things that we can do to slow down the process. Raise awareness about the effects, reduce greenhouse gases by taking the bus, carpooling, or riding a bike, reduce, reuse, recycle anything that can be. Every little thing we do can make a huge impact.